Okay. Quiet in the studio.
Only joking.
Fire in the hole.
Don't mention the hole.
3, 2, 1. Here we go. Right. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our podcast of the 30th of the 5th, 23. I'm Ab Fab. Yes, I'm that man who can turn a simple task like folding laundry into a fabulous fashion show. How about that? And let me introduce our panelists this evening. Statsman, the podcast's resident human calculator, armed with more statistics than a library's worth of dusty textbooks. Say hello, Statsman.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, fellow panelists. And, of course, good evening to our lovely listeners.
And next, calling in from Greece, we hate you. But actually, it's very sunny over here. The Gazelle, the podcast's resident fitness guru. As he gracefully leaps into discussions about health and wellness, effortlessly outrunning any sedentary topic with the speed and agility of an actual gazelle. Say hello, Trevor Nicholls.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I recognise that description. And hello, everybody, from a very sunny Greece, and I believe it's nice and sunny over in England, but I'm not bothered.
Okay. And our last, but certainly most least, Raven, the enigmatic guest with a voice so mesmerizing he could narrate a phone book. And make it sound like a gripping thriller. Say hello, Steve.
Yes, so good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, listeners. I've just let you come back on because I lost the sound. I didn't hear you ranting about yourself tonight at the start. Flipping heck.
Well, I could have gone on. I could have turned my laundry session into a fabulous fashion show, complete with twirls, sequins, and a perfectly choreographed...
set him off now, Steve.
Oh, my word. I told you, hairspray. Now he's on about sequins and stuff. What does that tell you? Hey, it's all coming out. It'll be coming out soon.
Yes, it is. It is. Just like Philip Schofield and Holly Willoughby. Okay.
I don't want to talk about that rubbish. It's appalling, and I'm sorry. I'm going to give a shout-out to the whole show, the presenters, the whole shebang, everything. It's a big distraction in relation to what's going on in the UK, and I'm disgusted by the whole episode, so we'll move on from that nonsense.
Well, there's a lot of the sponsors pulling out. Their biggest, Arnold Clark, has pulled out.
Good.
So there you have it. I mean, when it gets to that point, you know there is a problem when the sponsors are pulling out behind the scenes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Right. Well, carrying on with the roundup. Bedfordshire police officer who was awarded British Empire Medal is charged with multiple crimes, including rape and assault. How about that one?
What was his name?
Oh, do you really, really want to know?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I will tell you. His name is...
Good luck.
Mo Aziz. And he's 48 years old, and he'll appear at Westminster Magistrates Court today, which is Wednesday.
And where is this gentleman from? I use a gentleman term very loosely given the circumstances, clearly.
Well,
where
it's
Bedfordshire, apparently.
Yeah, Bedfordshire. Now, it's last Wednesday he was in court at Westminster, so we haven't heard about what's going on there. Okay, so when I said today, I didn't mean today because today is Tuesday. So, and these crimes are relating to crimes that have taken place between 2015 and 2022. Now, couple that with, okay, the fact that we have another officer who was the head of the Met VIP sex abuse investigation. He's facing a misconduct charge.
It's not going well, is it?
There really are no standards in public life anymore. Let's face it.
And his name is Steve Rodhouse. And he's facing a disciplinary board over allegations he lied in public at the conclusion of Operation Midland. The police watchdog has ruled. So it's not good, is it? You know, when you're looking at those for the police, and these are the people that we're supposed to trust.
The ones we're meant to protect the public.
It's not good at all, is it? Because the Conservatives are claiming that they have recruited 20,000 extra police, but they've sacked about 15,000 of them already.
They're imprisoned. imprisoned, most of them, for offences.
And the bar's so low, the quality of these new recruits is probably going to be even worse than the old ones.
No good.
Well, you've got to be, the first qualification clearly has to be that you've completed a full NVQ level 3 in wokery and left-wing politics agenda.
And
I'd also suggest that they could maybe do some self-defense training, because I've watched a couple of videos recently where the police are just getting walked over by old women, and it's embarrassing now.
Embarrassing.
Sectors, come on.
Yeah, I seen a wagon the other day. It was picking up a load of migrants off the beach and interviewing them.
all right.
To give them police positions. Yeah, because of that short of them.
He might joke, but this is the future.
So it was a careers grouping.
Careers officer.
Officer grouping on the beach in Greece for the migrants, saying, yes.
And he was taking them straight over there.
Yeah, you can come. We'll book you for the Met. Okay, here we go. Well, let's move it on this roundup. BLM headed for insolvency after plunging $8.5 million into the red. What about this? Is BLM? Black Lives Matter.
They're in the red. What's going on with the finances there? Just
They're $8.5 million in the red.
Well, where's all the money going?
Well, they had over 90 million.
They ripped off loads of gullible people, didn't they?
Yes, they did indeed.
Unlucky.
Yeah, I hear that. What about?
We did warn them.
Oh yes. What about Reeves's missing 30,000 of donations rectified? Do you hear that?
Who is that? Sorry.
Chancellor Rachel Reeves did break MP Slee's rules over her registration of donations. Now, it was Guido.
Well, we're not really surprised by politicians breaking rules over donations and declarations, are we, really? Let's face it.
Well, it was Guido that first broke this story. But according to the Commissioner's findings, Reeves declared a £2,482 donation from CEG to cover the cost of her Christmas cards. You should like that, Christmas cards, outside of the 28-day limit. Also failing to register a donation from GMB Yorkshire, that's the union, £2,500, and a donation from a man called Trevor Chin, £25,370.
Well, can I ask you a question, landlord? Have you declared your donation that you received of 3,000 tins of hairspray?
No, and I know that everybody's going to be questioning whether it came from the Chinese or the Americans, but I am not going to say Chinese.
Russians.
Chinese.
And I wasn't really happy about my mention Trevor about my chin.
Okay. What about British cycling? Chin. What about British cycling banning transgender women from female races?
About time, and everybody else should do it as well.
Sorry, it was good to see some common sense creeping through here and there, isn't it?
Totally agree.
Well, the good news story this week is the Free Speech Union wins 6-figure settlement for sacked civil servant.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
It's their biggest victory to date. The Free Speech Union has helped this civil servant secure a £100,000 settlement after she was forced out of her department for raising the alarm about its embrace of, and this is one for you, Mark, critical race theory and gender identity ideology.
I know. So she got punished in the first place. I mean, it's a win, but it's not really, because she was still sacked in the first place for literally doing her job and raising, possible safeguarding issues and all this insanity being taught to kids and stuff. Yeah. And the sad thing is who paid that money? Well, it's the taxpayer. It didn't come from the people who sacked her, did it? I don't think so. No, they need some. She needs some retribution with them, to be fair. And I think they need to be held accountable. Sorry.
Yep, indeed.
Well, the main thing is to take from that is that the worm is turning.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It is now.
Gives us a precedent, doesn't it, for the future? Maybe people might think twice, but I doubt it, because they don't think, do they, these idiots?
Well, the ones that are actually doing the sacking. Hold on, Steve. Mark, you mean the people that are doing the sacking?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Steve.
I was just going to say that the concept of thinking is lacking right across our society, certainly at the higher levels of government and our institutions. The country is in a mess.
Oh, without a doubt.
No serious analytics or thinking towards the consequences of all of these ridiculous actions ever takes place.
Indeed. Well, nicely leads us on to our national when you're talking about the country being in a mess. Now, the question is, who's helping it to be in that mess? And would you like me to open up with the national and give a summary of what I think is going on? And it's an article from Richard Littlejohn. And then we'll open it up for investigation by the panelists after Stats has had his say first. In this article by Richard Littlejohn for the Daily Mail, he argues that a rolling coup is taking place in Britain against the Conservative government. Well, I wish it would be against everybody, to be honest with you. But anyway, he compares the situation to the plot of the political thriller A Very British Coup and highlights similarities between the fictional story and the current political landscape. Littlejohn claims that the ultra-woke civil service and renegade Tories loyal to the EU are working together to undermine and destroy the democratically elected government. And he's saying this because he's citing examples such as the controversy surrounding Home Secretary Suella Braverman's speeding ticket, which was like a non-story, really, and the treatment of other prominent Brexiteers like Priti Patel and Dominic Raab. He criticises the left and the new establishment. Now, I'm not quite clear on who the new establishment is, but the new establishment for their treatment of conservative politicians, particularly those from ethnic minority backgrounds. So they're the ones that are actually attacking, these conservatives. He also accuses the public sector, including the police and the courts, of being dominated by the left and obstructing government policies. He concludes that elected officials should be held accountable at the ballot box rather than being forced out by unelected individuals or media outrage. There you go, gentlemen. There is your summary. Take it away. Who wants to go first? Stats?
I'll go first, please, if I may.
Oh, go ahead then, Gazelle.
I want to know why you said coup when it's actually a coup.
Well, it's coup. It's a military coup.
No, it's not. No. I've had this before. It's the same as soup.
No, it isn't.
It's spelled.
It's coup.
It's spelled the same as soup.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
Co-op.
Co-op.
I just wanted to clarify that for our listeners because they're obviously going to be on my side on this one.
No, they're not.
C-O-U-P, so it's a coup.
No, they're not.
When I have a tin of soup, it's S-O-U-P, so it's soup.
Oh no, you don't have you don't have a tin of soup.
I don't have a tin of soup. No, that's Chinese.
Well, it's a coup, and I'm going to argue, and I'm going to agree to disagree with you. It's a coup. All right.
Right, yo. Sorry, carry on.
Coup d'etat. Anyway, go ahead, Stats.
We've smelt a rat for a while now, haven't we?
Indeed.
And I've even brought this up. There's definitely a Cooper going on. But at first, it was Dominic Cummings, wasn't it, they came for?
Yeah.
And then by the time it was Boris Johnson's turn, which, to be fair, we wanted his downfall, but for totally different reasons from this lunacy. And then, as you said before, Priti Patel, Dominic Raab, Liz Truss, now Suella. I've probably missed some. There's probably more. I'd actually say it goes much further than our establishment. Literally anyone who tries to do anything conservative these days, or slightly conservative, or anything to fix this broken country, they just end up being set upon, don't they, by a gang of wolves. And you know what this reminds me of? And I've said this before, exactly what's been going on in America since 2015-16 with Trump and all his associates.
Yeah.
But on this occasion, I think ours is like a Poundland version. Now, you know what really winds me up is the left and the establishment bang on about hate, but their tactics are the worst for
all to do with hate,
which will link into the local as well. But I'll let the Raven come in anyway. That's my opinion.
They will utilise any of the tools. If they're a victim, if they're black, you're racist. If it's anything to do with a Muslim, you're a bigot.
I'll go through some of the tactics, but I think Steve wants to jump in. So.
Steve, jump in. Go ahead.
Go, baby, jump in.
First of all, just
into the river.
1 second, I've got 3 key points, but I'm just going to talk about, you talk about there of weapons that the left uses. They use any mechanism to divide and rule and undermine any form of government which is not left-wing based predominantly, or any policy that is not left-wing based in its thinking. And they will use anything to attack individuals, organisations, the people of the country, or even the country as a whole, because that is in effect what they're about. You talk here, this report indicates that there is allegedly a coup against the government.
Conservatives. There is also, behind the scenes, they've threatened the Blob have threatened to go on strike or some form of strike if Suella Braverman gets her way about Rwanda. You know, I mean, who the hell are these people? They're supposed to work for the government.
Yeah, just 1 second. The thing is, this is not a coup against the Conservative government, or indeed, generally speaking, Brexiteers, right? What this is, it's a coup against the country. It's a coup against the people of this country.
Quiet, Gazelle.
It is a complete disruption against everything that this country is. Now, there was reference in this report to the new establishment, and everybody's wondering what this is. Well, I will point it out. It's called Common Purpose, as we discussed last week.
Well, yeah, you mentioned that last week, and you went into it, and I do understand what you're saying. But
1 second, it's important because this is a full-blown left-wing Marxist agenda. It's not towards just the Conservatives or certain Conservatives, ministers or members of Parliament, or anything like that, or even Brexiteers, although they are clearly targets in itself. But the fact of the matter is, there is a dangerous ideology that is sweeping this country, that started out underground through the back doors, infiltrated the systems, right? It's infiltrated the justice system, everything. And this is the threat to this country. Everybody who's involved in Common Purpose, left-wing mantra, the wokeism that's sweeping this country should be brought to task, exposed, and sacked.
Go ahead, Mark. You wanted to discuss the tools of the trade for the lefties.
We were discussing, weren't we, me and you, the other day about the fact that they tell lies and rumours to stifle debate, don't they?
Yep,
that's just one of the tactics. You've also got financial attacks, so they'll use lawfare, they'll drag you through the court, they'll have your bank accounts frozen, and then you've got fake outrage and offence to get people in trouble with the law, prosecuted. You've got the cancellation by complaining en masse, whether it be on social media to get you banned or to shut down events, and then you've got the attempts to try and sack people. So again, en masse, they'll report you and they'll moan to your job and your work, and they'll tell them that you're far right or you're a bully, as these people in the government.
Actually, just to clarify, Mark, the 4 things that you can be accused of is racist, bigoted, Islamophobic, transphobic, and trans or homophobic, and xenophobic.
Yeah,
those are those 4 tools.
But they make 5. A lot of these words up, and they're very vague, like the word misogynistic as well.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a dictionary from 1992. Now, this is what I refer to because they keep changing names on these online, changing words, sorry. It's a hatred of women. But what they'll do is, if you say something bad to one woman, you're misogynistic. No, these people are thick. They don't understand words or what they mean. They just, in their heads, the words mean whatever they want them to.
I can't understand some trans women are calling men misogynists towards them.
It's just insanity. But Steve's right. It's an attack on our system.
Traditions.
Because our system is the most effective. And as if this follows over from our special and probably some of the other podcasts we've done, because it's the most effective. And it is, and it withstood attacks against the odds, massive odds with Brexit in the 2019 election.
Yeah.
And they're not happy and they're still going for us. So I'll finish on this point. I think we need to get a grip. I think everyone needs to get a grip, actually, a bit like Suella Braverman, and just tell them all to get lost.
That's it. We don't need them. We don't need it.
If you're not happy, like you said, John, vote me out, because that's how it's meant to work. Unless they've done something really bad. I mean, I think Boris should have gone for all the stuff he did with lockdowns and things and what he did to this country and its values. But they're just bothered about mean words and, did he have a drink? Oh, really?
Tiny faults.
Get a grip now, people, and stand up to this madness.
Yeah, say no. Say no.
Do we?
Tell your MP. Tell your MP. Tell loads of people. So you're not into it.
Yeah.
Well, are you going to tell your MP anything, Raven?
Yes, I am, actually, because I'm going to draft a letter over some local things about this issue of the council and the councillors giving themselves a rather nice pay rise 2 weeks after an election.
74% in one case, and I still haven't received any answers from any of those councillors. I'm giving them 10 working days.
And
After that,
saying they all voted for it and they're all going to take it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
Steve found out. Steve found out that one of the Labour councillors said all the Labour councillors voted for it.
They did.
Yes, I have the screenshots of the comments. I drew the issue out, and I'm gonna mention this later on, but I'm going to draft a letter to the 3 Labour councillors.
And we have to tell the listeners we're talking about Cheshire West and Chester.
Yes.
That's
okay?
right. That's right.
They are now on the highest allowances for members. Quickly, Mark, go ahead, because it was Raven's call. He had the time.
Go out just quickly. We know this because I can't remember if it was the same Blacon councillor we tried to contact, but one of them last time did admit to us that they all vote on a whip for Labour, which is a lot of the reason why I stood in an election, because it shouldn't be happening like this. You should be working for the people, not your party. It's disgraceful.
And one of those Labour councillors thought she was off the phone when we were talking to her, and she said some pretty naughty things. I think it's about time that we brought those out.
Maybe.
I do, to be quite honest. Just let me say this very quickly, Jonathan, if you will.
Go ahead, Steve.
Quick points. Very important points. And as you will see from the postings I put up, a former Labour councillor, the one you're referring to, actually, I think, put up a posting to say that the new councillors in Blacon will be holding a surgery at one of the local churches. And there will be various organisations in attendance, including some support groups and stuff, and support organisations for local people, including the food bank. Now, the
food bank.
Yes. Now, one second. I put up a posting saying to this former councillor's post promoting this event that local councillors will be available at this surgery. I said, yes, but don't forget to tell the local people that whilst in one hand, they're helping people to get food vouchers to get some additional food because they can't afford to live, that the first priority they made was to make sure they filled their own wallets and purses rather faster.
Boom! There is the caring Labour Council.
Now, I have to say, quick points on this. I have to say this. How unethical is it for 3 local Labour so-called socialist councillors to stand in a church offering support and guidance as to where they can access food banks, etc., and then have the audacity to do that when the first thing they did and indicate to the local people was to make sure that they had their increase straight away after the election.
Good point made.
Appalling and disgusting. Unethical, immoral, and downright appalling.
Will you yield to our man Stats? Go ahead, Stats.
I was going to say.
The floor is yours. I've been watching too many of those American congressional hearings.
Yeah, you mentioned that phone call. I wonder if you turned up to their drop-in meetings or coffee mornings or whatever, would they discriminate against someone, I don't know, towards their constituents on, I don't know, let's say, political persuasion maybe? Would they refuse to let them in because...
Wonder.
Well, I could tell you, Mark,
the tolerant left,
highly that would be
equality.
The case.
All for equality, aren't they, Stephen?
No, they're not.
Apart from when it suits them.
But some people are more equal than others.
Well, I'm sorry to say, I'm not sorry to say, I just tell the truth. The Labour Party is riddled with bias, hatred, and inequality. These people go bang on, like Mark says, all the time about equality, and their idea of equality is let's look after ourselves first and then throw some breadcrumbs out to those who are struggling.
Okay, you've made that point. And it's got through solid and clear. And if anybody else has got anything else to say about this, what's going on, then I think we should actually move on, because that story was about the British coup, not coup. A British coup is a bunch of chickens, although Parliament might be.
Well, it's
Parliament could be described as a coup
as well. They've hijacked all the money for themselves.
Bunch of chickens, because they won't stand up for the people they're supposed to represent. But
exactly,
there we go. Now we're going to move on to the local, which is okay. Does anybody want a summary of this? so that I can open it up for anybody.
Well, you might be in a while.
Well, it's connected. But anyway, Labour MP Charlotte Nicholls, everybody's been watching and seeing. She's been trending on Twitter, with these things. Labour MP Charlotte Nicholls praises crowds for chanting. Did you hear that? Chanting. I'm trying to do what Trevor was doing when he said coop instead of soup or coup. Right? It's chanting F the Tories at a festival causing controversy. So the highlights are Charlotte Nicholls endorses crowds chanting F the Tories at a festival in Warrington. Mike Graham from Talk Radio got her on the show, and he questions whether it's appropriate for an elected representative to encourage hate speech. The debate heats up over whether people have a right to hate the Tories due to their policies and actions. And Graham accuses Nicholls of contributing to an environment of online abuse against politicians. Now, this is this hate that you were talking about, Steve. Nicholls argues that chanting against the political party is different from personal attacks.
Yeah.
And not part of the toxicity on social media she's spoken out against. This woman is the perpetual victim.
It's rank hypocrisy.
Right, I'm going to open it up now. Who should I open it up to? Should it be to our
he's
man?
Like a greyhound in the stalls over in Greece.
Yes.
Pull him out of his misery, John.
Go on, Gazelle, come on out.
Well, I know Mark's going to go into this a little bit deeper, but she has been reported to the Cheshire Police over this for
as a hate crime incident. Do you think?
Yeah, there's a hate crime. Yeah, she's been
malicious communications, perhaps.
Yeah, I won't actually name the person who's reported her, but she's been reported to Cheshire Police for inciting for putting forward a hate crime. Now, I've got written down here. Well, we have a Coronation Street MP swearing like a Liverpool docker again.
What do you mean, like a Liverpool docker? There's lots of other people swear. We also swear in Cheshire. We are swearers in Cheshire, aren't we?
No, we like to think we're a little bit refined now and again, but
bloody hell! Bloody hell!
It's a miracle I've not sworn on this podcast once.
I mean, what is this phrase anyway? F the Tories. What's wrong with flip the Tories?
Well, because the Tories flip all the time. They flip flop, flip flop, flip flop.
No. Politicians can't mention flip after the expense. Problems they had years ago where they were flipping houses.
That's right.
Now, I have reported it myself to Keir Starmer.
Did you get on the phone to Keir? Did you speak to him? Did you say, hey, Keir, this is just really not on. You've got to get rid of this woman. She's no good for you. She's a liability.
Did, and Keir Starmer answered the phone straight away. Hi, Trevor, my best mate in Warrington. How are you doing? You all right?
You want to stand for Labour?
Actually, you don't realise how near the knuckle you are there. Now, I've reported this to Stammer, right? Will anything come of it? I very much doubt it. Mike Graham said, would she say that in Parliament? She said, probably not. I'll tell you why she said that. Because I've also reported her to the Parliamentary Commission.
Oh, what?
Who has?
The Gazelle.
I have reported her to the Parliamentary Commission.
Okay.
And when they sent me an email, they said, I know you don't want to have this answer, but unless she does it in Parliament, because there's a clue in the title, the Parliamentary Commission.
Yeah.
Unless she does it in Parliament, they can't do anything about it.
That's the point that Mike Graham was asking her, because on the interview, he specifically said...
exactly what he said.
Yeah, he turned around and he said, would you say that in Parliament? And she said, no, of course I wouldn't.
Yeah, she said, probably not.
Yeah.
I picked up on that for the simple reason that I was told by the Parliamentary Commission that unless she does something in Parliament, and I said, so she can swear, a person in public office can swear.
And on social media.
On social media, and they said, yes, they don't cover that. They only cover what she says in Parliament. So, and then the question was raised that, well, what contract does an MP have of employment?
An oath, which they break.
It's an oath. They don't have a contract because they are self-employed. And And that's why I'll tell you why, because the Parliament. But now, if she said it in Parliament, the Commission would and probably could, I'd say, come down on like a ton of bricks.
But don't you think? Don't you think she should be more responsible?
Well, you're talking about standards, aren't you? And there aren't any anywhere. We've said this before.
Go ahead, Trevor.
There is no step. She tried to be clever, right, with Mike Graham, and basically he destroyed her.
Yeah,
she's arrogant. She's arrogant, and she's very, very immature. For a 32-year-old woman, she's immature. She's like a 12-year-old. Now, 19,000 people voted Conservative in Warrington against her. That's why she got this absolutely measly 1,500 majority from normally an 11 or 12,000. She got 1,500 majority, and she's not been out of the newspapers since she got that.
All for the wrong reasons, of course.
All for the wrong reasons. So she basically said on Mike Graham's programme, yes, she admitted it right at the end. I hate the Tories. And he made an absolutely spot-on point. He said, right, so if you hate the Tories, you hate people that vote Tory.
Yep.
Now, there is 19,000 of those in Warrington, so what are they going to make?
But she's supposed to represent all people.
All of the... Yes, and that includes those 19,000 that voted Tory.
Yeah.
As she said, she hates them.
But she said it's nothing personal. It's the party. She hates the party. It's nothing personal. She doesn't hate the individuals. Well, of course she can't, because the Express released information today to say that she did have some form of a relationship with a Conservative who works for a Conservative MP.
So that's been released today?
So, yeah, that's been released today. It was in the Express. So, I said the other day, because I did the rounds trying to find out, who this person was. And, they said, they were just, the people I was speaking to just turned around and said, we didn't even know that she was in a relationship. Then it was released that they said that there is a whisper list amongst the male Labour MPs about which women you can approach and which women you don't approach and which women you do not get into a room with on your own.
Yeah, so they've basically turned around what she said, exactly.
And she's top of the list.
Of course she is. She's absolutely manic. She's a fruitcake. She's as nutty as a box of frogs.
There you go. So,
and nobody's eyes should be that wide apart.
She reminds me of that kid off Family Guy. Stewie. That's who she reminds me of. Sorry.
Well, I think we need to be very careful what we're saying here.
No, I'm not. It doesn't matter. That's what she reminds me of. I'm sorry.
She is chief victim.
Chief victim. She can be a victim all she wants.
She's not
Somebody said the other day.
I believe she looks like that kid off that program. So that's it. End of. Okay.
End of. Yeah, of course it is. And why are her eyes that wide apart? And that is a legit question.
Yep. No, they might have based that character on her. You don't know.
You don't know. Don't tell her that, because you start reclaiming royalties.
Yes.
She is. Somebody put up the other day, she's nearly got the pack of victim cards. I said, she's got the pack and she's got the two jokers as well.
And we're only talking about her personality, because on a program like with Mike Graham, she is one way and she comes across in one way, and in other situations, God, anybody that could actually go and take a dance from the Raven, it's got to be mentally impaired.
Oh, definitely. I think she was on coke that night. She was on sort of something, definitely some incredible drug.
Indeed. And we've still got the video, so if anybody wants to deny anything, we've got the video.
It's up to 9.5 grams at the moment, and it's still climbing.
Did you hear that? He said she was under his spell. What? Of dad dancing? Dad dancing supreme.
Well,
yeah.
And I'm just wondering, actually, because I'm trying to get a time scale, which I worked out when she got dragged off that plane.
Oh, I thought when she was dragged off the dance floor by other people who turned around and said, "You know who that is? That's Steve Ingram." Steve Ingram, get away.
No, well, I'm trying to get the timeline from when she actually got took off the plane, which she then said she was hospitalised with PTSD in connection with when she danced with Steve, which I think was about 1 week to do it. Before she actually went to Gibraltar.
And then the next thing will be, well, at the time she did have a suspected heart attack after coming off the dance floor with Steve.
Well, my wife's been traumatized by these experiences for 40 years.
What, with Dancing with You? I would imagine so. Yeah, I would agree with that.
And she's not got PTSD, so there we go. So I'm not quite sure about Charlotte, actually. I think she's a bit of a charlatan.
Yes, a charlatan. Very good.
Do you like that?
Yeah, that was very good. Okay. Go ahead, Mark.
I'll just bring it back to what we discussed before we go off on one.
We are diverging from the subject.
I know. But that was the biggest pile of, I'm not going to swear, hypocrisy and wriggling out of things I have ever seen in my life. It was astounding, honestly.
Hideous is the word you're looking for.
Mike kept asking her things, and she's totally missing the point. Like, he asked her...
she was evading the point, Mark.
Look, that's what I mean. He asked her about... She bangs on about outrage and toxicity on the internet. And he asked her if it was hypocritical, and she says no, because I was talking about conspiracy theories, and what she's doing isn't inciting violence. Then she was making up some stuff that they were chanting this thing about F the Tories because they got no hospital and sewage. No, it's the ingrained hatred from the left. It's been going on since the 70s, 80s. This is great. He quoted a statement to her where she said something along the lines of, we need to use debate and policies rather than personal attacks. But she claims hating the Tories isn't personal. And she tried to switch to hating the government and hating the party. I mean... God, it just then Mike did a good one. He asked her about. He said, "But you're attacking a group of people," and she tried to say that's not hate. So it's not hate when you're slagging the Tories because they're not a protected characteristic, and it's about their policies. But then when he said he switched it to the Jews, she said, "Oh no, you can't do that. No, we're protected. So it's rules for thee, but not for me." I think.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now, the best one. I don't know why he threw this one in, but it was quite hilarious. What is a woman, he said, Charlotte. So Charlotte said, a female.
Well, first off, she said, she was saying, well, it's obvious,
You could tell, couldn't you, the way she was stalling and didn't want to answer the question that she knew the answer, but she's not allowed to say it, is she? So she said, a female. So then he went one better and he asked her, can a woman have a penis? And she said yes, because the Equality Act says so.
Mad. Do you know
it
what?
Really doesn't.
Well, that was just an evasive.
He said so before 2010 they couldn't.
Well,
this is an absolute
just so that she doesn't feel bad. Wait a minute, Steve. Just so that she doesn't feel bad about me saying that she looks like Stewie of Family Guy. Okay, Laura Koonsberg looks like Roger the alien off American Dad. Okay, that's who she looks like. So I'm just saying it straight out. It's simple as that. Because every time I look at Laura Koonsberg on Sunday, say like if I watched the program, she just reminds me of Roger from American Dad. So there you go. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say this, which is a lot of the situations that now arise in our public life and in government and beyond. Quite often, they're so hideous that they're quite hilarious in a lot of ways. And, we can talk about the hypocrisy and lots of other things surrounding all of this. But let's not forget, we've got public figures now who, on the one side, like Mark says, like to play the victim in public office, some of these people, and want to bring in laws to suppress other people's speech and how they behave and control and conduct themselves. And yet, the very same people who bring about all these impositions on other people's lives, their expressions and how they live their lives, seem to think they've got the right to have a total free rein to go about their business as a public figure and potentially, let's not forget this, potentially incite group hatred and violence. Okay, so here's the point. We've got total irresponsibility by some public figures who think it's okay to stir up public emotion to the extent it may cause, potentially, civil unrest. Think about that, because it's actually very serious.
Okay. All right.
Steve, I kind of disagree a little bit. I think all this hate thing now is just, again, so overblown. She was right in some respects. You can be in a crowd and people are going to chant stuff. It doesn't really mean anything. My point is just hypocrisy, because as you said in the last segment, the left bang on and on and on about hate. Oh, yeah. But they're the main people who push it. It just, I don't know. It's just incredible, the hypocrisy. It's like, again, it's all right when we do it. Do you know what I mean? It's very Orwellian in its ideological thing.
Yeah,
it is.
I had to clarify something on Facebook earlier because somebody put up a post that they was laughing at her and said that she said that women can have a penis. She said yes. And I had to clarify it. I said, well, all the women I've been with...
You hope.
did not have a penis.
You hope.
Oh, yeah.
Contrary to all the rumours.
Is that when you had your eyes done before or after?
No, I had cataracts, I did. I don't know why you brought that up. Yeah, I had cataracts.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had to clarify that earlier on.
How's your guide dog as well, Trevor?
Contrary to rumours, I have not been with a woman with a penis.
Okay, there you go. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, I've got a couple more points on this one. It, like, again, she uses the rules that allow for her, not for others. So she insulted Suella Braverman, but she says this is because she was trash-talking a Holocaust survivor. Now, that's her opinion. In fact, she was asked to moderate her language by one in relation to immigration.
What, by the speaker?
Yeah, so it's always put back, isn't it, to the Jewish thing. Now, I'm not one of these who thinks that the Jews are to blame for everything in the world.
No.
Why can't any criticism be directed at anywhere near anybody who's Jewish without it coming back? You can't do that to the Jewish. Now, she set the rules. Yep. So she says, someone mentioned before, she hates the party, the Conservative Party, and the ideology and what they've done to the country. So, in someone's opinion, if, I don't know, Jews, Muslims, anyone like that have done the same, is it all right for someone to hate the religion and hate the ideology and hate what maybe they've done somewhere in the world to something?
Is that okay to hate?
Just for Charlotte?
Is it okay to hate Cheshire West and Chester, Labour-controlled council?
Do you know, I remember when the word hate was just like, oh, I hate that. It's rubbish.
Yeah.
Now it's used as a weapon. Like
it's
all
those
other words you mentioned, John, like xenophobia and racism and misogyny. They just twist the meanings for everything. And like, hate's just a strong dislike of something. I just think everyone needs to chill out a little bit, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think we can counteract this. Yeah, we've got massive criticism, haven't you?
Yeah.
And I think the only way to basically counteract it at the next election is to vote Trevor Nicholls, Reform, UK.
Correct. Yes.
Would anybody say, are you going to put down on your leaflet, Charlotte Nicholls is the Mizzy of politics?
Oh, yeah.
She comes into your home unannounced. And she says these things like, F the Tories. And then she walks out. What do you think about that?
She's a fruitcake.
She's a liability.
Liability. She's brought Warrington North down to a marginal seat. It's never been thingy. Oh, and just to thingy, I've just got some news through about 20 minutes ago that Andy Carter has just announced that he's not standing for Warrington South again.
Oh, I wonder why.
No, he's not standing for Parliament.
Is he not standing, Trevor, did you say?
Yeah,
no,
well...
He's not standing for Parliament, he says.
It doesn't matter. I wonder why. He knows that he's going to lose that seat. There is a definitive feeling running around all the Conservatives. So how many is that? Is it over 45 now, Conservatives not standing?
Oh, yeah, 47.
47.
I've got it at.
Yeah.
That's Conservatives and 15 Labour. So you're up to your 68, 69.
Majority, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's disappearing fast.
That majority is
just speak in with one last thing I almost forgot.
Wrap it all up, Mark. Wrap it all up.
Charlotte put a statement out, and again, she's missing the point. She's saying, oh, and you lot call the left snowflakes, now you're all offended. I think the majority of people are actually just a bit annoyed. She should be a bit more professional in her role as an MP. I don't think she should be doing this stuff. And most people are just pointing out the hypocrisy of what we said in the first segment, and the left again, and everything's hateful, but it's all right when we do it.
Yeah, of course.
It's just a mess, but she's again shown.
I'm going to be vicious now. I'm going to be very lefty and wokish. I'm going to say, that's it. And if you don't get to the bar, Steve, you're racist, xenophobic. What else? Bigoted. What else can we say, Mark?
Spitting feathers.
You're digital pintophobic.
Well, we've all been called those when we were in UKIP, even though it was all true. So I'm going to not go to the bar. I'll take all that on the chin and save a few quid.
Shout outs and shout downs. Go ahead. All right. Nobody wants to go and say anything.
Yes, actually, I do.
All right. Let's get Steve out of the way first so we can get him out. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'll go last now for that. I'm going to go last.
No, you are last. Go on.
I'll go first.
Go on.
I was going to give a shout out to the Free Speech Union.
Oh, brilliant.
That was brilliant. But
I
as soon
love
as you
that.
mentioned it, I'll give a shout out to the city of Chester. Been there today. Had a lovely time. Lovely weather. That was a great day out. Nice people.
How did you get through passport control?
I have a way, mate. Steve, I'm like water, mate. I'll get anywhere.
Anywhere. He gets in anywhere. We know the story.
Well, next time you come down, Mark, hopefully I'll have my boat ready. You'll be able to go up the day in my little boat.
Thing is, Stephen, those walls that are meant to protect Chester need reinforcing because I got through.
Yeah. Okay, let's go with the Gazelle. Okay, Gazelle.
Yeah, I've not much to say really, other than I've got to rush off because I'm just going to
he's got a date. He's got a date.
I'm going to watch the Greek soaps.
Have you met your Shirley Valentine in Greece?
Well, I have actually, but that's nothing to do with what I'm saying.
Don't forget the Adam's apple check first.
I've done all that. She hasn't got a penis. I've checked it. Now,
what's his name?
That's being bleeped.
I've got to rush off because I'm watching my Greek soaps, which you could put on telly in about 5 minutes, which is Colosseum Street and East Roaders.
Very good. All right, go ahead, Steve. What's yours? Shout down.
Well, I'm going to follow on from what I said earlier with a very disgusting shout down to Laken Labour and Cheshire Labour.
You're going to get tagged. You're going to get tagged.
Well, not one of them is brave enough to turn up and stand on my doorstep so they can come down here and bring all the mates if they like. I'll take the lot of them on. They won't stand a chance.
Yes.
Viking.
Yours, Labour, you disgusting party.
Oh, hey, Charlotte's giving us the rules, mate. We can say whatever we want about them.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Of course we can.
Because it's the party and the ideology, not the people.
That's right. That's right.
Party, yeah.
So she said it. So Keir's going to have to back her up if he's going to keep her in. Do you know, it's going to be...
I'm still waiting for a reply of him.
It's going to be so funny if she gets suspended from the party. That is just going to be so funny. Mike Graham's going to claim
some more time for a bit of dancing with the lads down at Warrington.
Well, I can't... What's happening to... She can't keep going on swearing like that in a public office. It's got to be stopped.
Well... It's the rage now. You heard of misconduct in a public office. This is now swearing in a public office.
No, I doubt they'll do anything, mate, because they've been attacking the Conservatives anyway, haven't they? And Rishi and his wife and all this. I think they're loving it, Labour, you know. They're getting away with it, so they'll carry on.
It's a little bit infantile, really, because they actually think this is kind of funny. And
you talk about infantile. Something. You talk about... You're so childish. No.
How about now?
You just are.
Chubby cheeks there. You just like a little hamster.
No, stop being childish. No. Right, okay, I'm calling it right now. My shout down has definitely got to be to all those people who are too frightened to liken Family Guy and American Dad characters to politicians in Westminster. Yes. We've got to be able to say it. Who would be the Peter Griffin in Westminster? I would say it's got to be Mark Francois.
Yeah,
he's the definite Peter Griffin, you know. And who would be the Glenn Quagmire? For anybody.
Oh, that's Matters.
No, it can't be.
Old MP.
He's not old. Okay.
It's your old MP.
Oh gosh, you've got it. You got to liken some of these characters.
That's it. That's it.
That's who you meant. Matters. God, Matters has got no street cred. I'm telling you now, he's just straight.
Right. Hey,
Matters is just straight. That's it. But you know, if you look at these characters, you've got to start. I'm going to start doing it more often. I'm going to liken them. So anybody that's actually watched Family Guy,
you do need to start doing it more often. You'll be less stressed.
An American Guy.
Yeah, I mean, I picked that up straight away. Then Raven, well done.
What? That I'm stressed? How can I be stressed?
No, that you need to
Trevor,
start
he
doing
just
it more
didn't
often.
pick that up. That's all what we said.
Gosh. Okay, well, that's it. I am calling it. Okay. I'm calling it. Well, okay, that was thank God that was all over. I do not know how I'm going to edit this show. I have no idea.
So you actually edit all this?
Pretends to between sprays.
Hey? Oh my
God. I cannot wait.
I've got a question. When are we going to bestow upon the public our amazing good looks? Well, at least mine. And what sort of preparation are you lot going to need to sort of enhance your rather tired looks to match me?
Listen to this.
He's lost for words.
I lost for words. Yeah, that's because I'm stunned at the statement that you've just made. Well, it is happening. I can't wait. We are preparing video. It is going to happen. We are preparing to go video, and then when we do, Mark, you're going to have to put down that vape.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
Trevor,
you're never going to.
I'll tell you, I can't wait, baby, because I'm all bronzed. I'm like Lord Adonis.
Really? I hope you're not. I went up in a debate against Lord Adonis once, and I couldn't believe it. The guy had a massive coffee stain on his shirt. I turned round at the debate and I said, this guy can't even turn up well dressed.
I didn't know where you were going then when you said massive coffee stain.
Yeah. It was Annabelle Tippin who was the moderator. Oh, God, that was funny. Okay.
And I couldn't believe, you know, obviously his parents have got to send to him. They called him Adonis.
Yep, that's right.
He's only about 5 stone.
That should have been me, really.
You're not 5.
You should have been a comedian.
If you're 5 stone, you're deluded.
If you're 5 stone, Charlotte Nicholls is your girlfriend.